On my birthday, I closed my eyes and made a wish, unexpectedly. After I opened my eyes, my mother suddenly leaned sideways to block me, and my younger sister took the opportunity to blow out my candles. I directly threw the cake in my younger sister's face. Blow, blow, blow. Can't you live until your own birthday? Before my younger sister could cry out, I threw myself on the ground and started crawling in a sinister way, frantically pulling my hair, screaming, crying, doing push-ups. Walking back and forth, howling like a ghost, crawling distortedly, and rolling my eyes. My parents were both stunned. My name is Jenny, and I've been reborn at the age of 14. I can summarize my past life in 3 words. Saint Complex. Before I was 10 years old, I was a left-behind child. My parents were working hard in the city, and I lived with my grandparents in our rural hometown. My grandparents wanted a grandson, so they didn't think much of me, in the days without my parents' love. I kept telling myself that only by being kind could I be loved, and that only by repaying evil with good could I earn others' respect. When I was 10 years old, my parents took me to the city, and I suddenly found out that I had an 8-year-old younger sister. The absurd life in the following dozen or so years proved a truth to me. Enduring for a moment may seem peaceful, but taking a step back will only make others more insolent. No one will love someone who doesn't even love themselves. Of course, the consequence of throwing the cake was that my father lifted me up and slapped me hard, and then he gave me a solid beating. While being beaten, I wailed and freely vented all the grievances I had accumulated until then. You just favor my younger sister. The 3 of you are the real family. If that's the case, why didn't you strangle me to death when you gave birth to me? Just beat me to death. If you do, I'll be reincarnated and you'll go to jail, in the next life. I'll be your father, and I'll also be partial. I'll be so partial to you that I'll flush you down the toilet as soon as you're born. My father was so angry with me that he looked like a devil, with his veins bulging. My mother looked at me with disappointment in her eyes. How could you become like this? I almost laughed. She always looked at me with disappointment, and I was already immune to it. I could even give her a smile that said, "I'll do it again next time." The next day, I deliberately wore a thick coat to school. It was autumn, and my classmates were all wearing long-sleeved shirts, but I was wrapped in a small cotton-padded jacket. I was so hot in class that I was sweating all over. The head teacher came up to me and asked me to take off my coat. She felt uncomfortable seeing so much sweat on me. I sobbed softly and put on an aggrieved look. I slowly took off my coat, revealing my scarred arms. The head teacher immediately called the police. I swear I will study hard to repay the head teacher's great kindness. Come to think of it, luck was on my side. My father is a government worker, a job that requires great attention to one's image, so I'm not worried at all that he will abandon me. I don't think it's very likely that he will beat me to death either. All I ask for is fairness. Since no one will give it to me, I'll fight for it myself. On the weekend, my mother took my younger sister to the shopping mall, and I was placed under house arrest, locked in the house. Before leaving, she told me to think carefully about what beastly things I had done recently. Your father is now the deputy director, and he's at a crucial stage of promotion. Do you know that you could become his stain? I wish I hadn't given birth to you if I had known you would be like this. My mother frowned in disgust. My younger sister hid behind her and made faces at me. I was speechless, completely speechless. I sat in the room for a while and suddenly remembered that in my past life, I was a girl praised by everyone. They clung to me, drank my blood, ate my flesh, hurt me without scruple, took everything from me, and then said to me, "You're such a good child." Is it true that the child who doesn't cry won't get the candy? If so, I will not only cry, but I will also crawl in a sinister way, pull my hair, pick my nose, dig out my eyeballs, climb up a tree, babble like a monkey, jump into the water, and let out a scream. I tore down the curtains in the room, cut them into strips, tied them into knots, and tied one end to the windowsill and the other end to myself. My family lives on the 3rd floor. It's not very high, but the moment I stood on the windowsill, I still felt dizzy. I carefully stepped out 1 foot. Immediately, screams came from below. "Little girl, what are you doing? It's too dangerous. Go back, go back. This is the compound of the government, the place where I grew up. Jenny will make my whole family lose face today." I let out the rope little by little. The flustered people were about to call the police, but I had already jumped to the ground. I want to take revenge on my parents. How could I waste the police force, uncles and aunts? Don't worry, I've just been locked in the house for too long and came out to get some fresh air. I forced a smile and pretended to be strong. Although my family lives in the government compound, in fact, my parents own many houses, including villas and large flats. This has to do with my complicated family background. My father is like a golden phoenix that flew out of the countryside. He was the only college student in the village in that era. After graduating, he entered a government unit. After more than 10 years of working there, he has now become the second in command in the bureau. But my father wants both money and power. So he asked my mother to resign and pretend to be doing business. His official career has been rising steadily, and he has been making a lot of money. Unfortunately, he has a daughter like me. He's just unlucky. The people in the compound gave my father face and didn't make a big deal out of this matter, but they were gossiping behind his back. My father beat me again. This time, he really tried to beat me to death. In the middle of the beating, I suddenly said, "Dad, haven't you eaten?" My father was taken aback, then his whole face turned red, and he rushed towards me like an angry calf. I quickly dashed to the window, opened it, and shouted, "Help, domestic violence, I'm going to be beaten to death." My mother hurriedly covered my mouth and pulled me back, then closed the window with a bang. "If you beat me to death, you'll be on the front page tomorrow, and I'll go to the underworld. I've even thought of the headline for you." Shocking. The second in command of a certain bureau actually did this to his daughter late at night. Is it the loss of humanity or the decline of morality? My father is very intelligent, otherwise, he wouldn't have been the only college student in the village in that era. He forced himself to calm down and plopped down on the sofa. "All right, tell me what you want by making such a fuss." My father lit a cigarette. "Put out the cigarette," I said. His hand trembled. "You little brat, how dare you? Think carefully before you talk to me." I crossed my arms and looked down at him. "Do you believe that I'll send you to a mental hospital?" He threatened me through gritted teeth. I sneered. The dignified deputy director James has a crazy daughter. Like father, like daughter. If I'm crazy, you are too. No wonder you can only be a deputy director all your life. It turns out that your own daughter is a lunatic. He pressed the cigarette butt into the ashtray. "You can stop being my daughter." I looked at him like he was a fool. "Come on, is there really someone so great as to raise someone else's child?" He was stunned for a moment, then lowered his head and said nothing. "James, you have to believe that I'm not too happy about being your daughter either. How about we make a deal?" At the age of 15, I finally successfully transformed into the female devil that everyone in the family was afraid of. Sometimes when my younger sister snatches things from me, my mother will snatch them back and throw them to me, and then say, "Why did you snatch her things? If you want something, Mom will buy it for you." There's no love, but there's no harm either. That's enough. One night, Heidi said to me, "Sister, I really feel sorry for you. What's the point of defying our parents? You won't get a single cent of the family property in the future." I was reading a book and chose to ignore her. Unexpectedly, she became even more cocky. "Jenny, what are you pretending for? My parents and I are a family of 3. You will never be welcome in this house. If you're smart, get out. When you come of age, I might persuade our parents to give you a few thousand yuan." I threw a book at her, hitting her right on the forehead. "Sister," I shrieked, "sister. Why did you hit yourself on the head with the book? If I've really done something wrong, please punish me. God, don't hurt my innocent sister. I only drank soybean milk this morning, and I didn't even eat a single bit of meat. I've been doing good deeds and accumulating virtue." I roared. I banged my head on the ground crazily, then I crawled in a strange posture, picked my nose and smeared it on my sister. "Sister, how could I live without you? Heidi, you stay away from me." After the high school entrance examination, I was admitted to the best high school in the city. My father wanted to hold an entrance banquet, but I immediately turned over the table. "Hold your mother's banquet," I said briefly. In my past life, he invited all his leaders and business partners and held a grand banquet. Then he asked me to toast every leader or business partner who had helped him at the banquet with white liquor. I was only 15 years old at that time, and I vomited so much that I was dizzy. It took me several weeks to recover. "Do you still want me to fawn over your leaders in this life? You're daydreaming." My father's lips trembled. "Fine, we won't hold it. Just don't go crazy." I gave him a haughty and cold smile, and then started packing my things. My parents looked at each other and suddenly became very eager to help me pack. "Are you going to live in the school dormitory? What else do you need? Mom and Dad will buy it for you." I looked at them in confusion. Why would I live in the dormitory? I'm going to donate the things I used in junior high school. Donate what? My father said. Organize your notes and I'll give them to the son of Section Chief Charles. He'll take the high school entrance examination next year. I forced a smile. You really know how to play the nice guy. But I didn't refuse him. After all, you have to give a sweet date after hitting someone with a stick, as long as I feel satisfied. I will still remember that he is my father to some extent. I've already packed them for you. Here, take them and give them to him. I brought out a set of exquisite study notes. The handwriting was neat, and the content was well organized. My father was so excited that his nostrils flared, and he was panting heavily. You're really my good child. I didn't love you in vain. His mother, go and buy some nice clothes quickly. We can't look too shabby when our child goes to high school. He was as proud as a victorious rooster. I put some pieces of paper in the study materials. They were the personal biographies of my father that I wrote, the story of a man who climbed out of a mountainous area and successfully changed his destiny. I hope it can give the children in the mountainous areas a hope and a direction to move forward. To be fair, my father is quite inspirational. In my past life, although I also entered number 1 middle school, I was at the bottom of the class. In this life, I have good grades and have entered the best class in number 1 middle school. On the first day of school, my father couldn't be bothered to pretend to be low-key anymore. He drove the best car in the family to send me to school. He walked with his head held high, as if he wanted everyone to know that his daughter had been admitted as the top student in the district. As soon as I stepped into class 1, I suddenly remembered that Lee was in this class. Lee, the childhood friend of me and Heidi. Well, he's Heidi's childhood friend, and he has little to do with me. He was my boyfriend in my past life, and also the person who hurt me the most. I was a bit late for class. There were only 2 empty seats in the class, one next to the garbage bin and the other next to Lee. I decisively sat next to the garbage bin in the last row. A man who doesn't cherish himself is like a rotten cabbage. A rotten cabbage smells worse than a garbage bin. Hello. I'm your new desk mate. I greeted the boy next to me generously. Unexpectedly, the boy didn't even look at me. He just raised his head at a 45-degree angle and looked out the window. I tidied up my stationery and then took out my books to cover them with book covers. Some people say that you should be kind to your books because at critical moments, they will protect you. I deeply agree with this. I want to wrap my books beautifully so that every time I see them, I will have the urge to read them. Only primary school students cover their books. A deep voice came from beside me. It was a series of bubble tones, and it was uncomfortable to hear. The first class was a class meeting. The head teacher asked us to introduce our names and hobbies in turn, starting from the first row. I thought about it. My name is Jenny, and I like to go crazy. No, this is too showy. I'm here to study. I'm not here to attract attention. Unexpectedly, my desk mate stood up. Hello, everyone. My name is Harry. The evil power of the demon lord is sealed in my right eye, and my dream is to defeat the holy angel. Boom. The whole class erupted. My name is Jenny, and my dream is to be everyone's father, I said seriously. Then, my name is Luke, and my dream is to be a slipper, the one my mother used to beat me with. My name is Bella, and my dream is to be a princess. With Harry's remarkable introduction ahead, no matter how absurd the introductions of the people behind us were, they were just average. When it was Lee's turn, his voice carried a hint of a smile. My name is Lee, and my dream is to open a small store and adopt many stray cats and dogs. I was a bit surprised. A person like him, how could he have such a dream? Because of Harry's nonsense, the relationship in our class was very harmonious, and this day will surely shine brightly in our memories like a precious jewel in our future lives. In the blink of an eye, I entered my senior year of high school. In the past 2 years, Lee and I tacitly kept our distance from each other. He is a reserved and introverted person. In my past life, our relationship was neither close nor distant. It was not until he confessed to me in senior year that we officially got together, but 2 days later, Heidi joined us, and we became a group of 3, taking advantage of my good nature and with the constant reminders from my parents. I almost lived like Heidi's nanny. It was my own fault. I always felt that as an elder sister, I should take good care of my younger sister, and I had so many strange senses of responsibility, and taking care of Heidi was never my responsibility. I was still a child myself. The past is too painful to look back on. I don't want to have anything to do with them in this life. I only focus on my studies. Whoever disturbs my studies, I'll bite. Coincidentally, I've been sitting next to Harry for the past 3 years. He's a bit strange. He doesn't listen in class. He either looks out the window or sleeps soundly. After class, he acts crazy in front of me. Ah, it hurts so much. My right hand hurts so much. Is the seal going to be broken? Harry yelled. You must have just slept on your hand and it went numb in class. Stop talking. Help me see how to solve this problem. I patted him on the shoulder. You draw an auxiliary line here and another one here. Harry said honestly. Harry, why do you, study so well? Harry's hair stood on end like a hedgehog's. Who are you calling a sick? I gave him a glare. His voice automatically lowered. Above science is theology. If you don't master science, how can you explore more mysterious things in the world? What mysterious things do you want to explore? I asked, biting the tip of my pen. Harry looked at me, and the tips of his ears turned so red that they were almost transparent. For example, is love the outburst of hormones or the attraction of souls? He was facing the light, and his whole face was shining, because I didn't want to waste time on the way to and from school. I started living in the school dormitory in my senior year of high school. If possible, I really wish I could just sleep in the classroom directly. My brain isn't really that smart. Even though I've tried my best, I can only manage to stay among the top 10 students in the class. In this key class, there are top students like Lee who are both smart and hardworking. And there are also geniuses like Harry who can get the first place even without studying hard. But most of us are ordinary people with average talent who are also trying our best. It's a rare weekend, and I'm planning to go home. Firstly, I want to wash my dirty clothes and socks in the washing machine, and secondly, I want to go home and have some fun by acting crazy. The first person I saw when I got home was Heidi. She was sitting on the sofa watching TV. Long time no see. Heidi glanced at me. I'm too lazy to pay attention to her. She's not fun at all and is always being so two-faced. Mom and Dad have both gone out, Heidi said with a smile in her voice. What a pity. I went back to my room and found that there were many things in the room that didn't belong to me. The bed was full of Heidi's dolls and pillows, and there was also a piano placed there. Honestly, I really want to go and poop on Heidi's bed right now. Let her feel what it's like to be disgusted, but I'm a civilized person, so I can't do that. I rushed out of the room, grabbed Heidi's hair and slapped her twice. Heidi, why do you like to take other people's things so much? Even the price of pork is rising, but you're getting cheaper and cheaper. Do you have no sense of when to act like a bitch, day or night? Heidi started shouting, Sister, please spare me, I won't dare to do it again. Something's not right. This isn't what this little green tea would say at this moment, unless there's someone around. I turned around and saw Lee looking at me with wide eyes. Heidi, you really have some nerve, Jenny. I didn't expect you to be this kind of person. Lee looked at me with disappointment in his eyes. I calmly picked up the phone and called the person in my contacts list marked as source of happiness. Dad, Heidi brought a guy home. Heidi is in a puppy love. Then, with lightning speed, I took a picture of Lee tenderly helping Heidi who fell to the ground. I looked at Lee and stared at him with an even more disappointed expression than his just now. You beast, Lee, you're such a beast. My sister isn't even 16 years old yet. Sigh. I let out a heavy sigh. You're talking nonsense. I'm innocent with brother Harry, Heidi said with tears streaming down her face. Then swear that if you're with Lee, you'll die a miserable death. I continued to fan the flames. After all, I'm a crazy person, and it's normal for a crazy person to say anything. Heidi of course didn't dare to swear. After all, our family only has a bit of power and money. While Lee's family is a huge consortium, conservatively estimated, with Heidi's character, the best person she can get in touch with is Lee. Jenny, you don't have to be so aggressive, Lee said. After all these years, you've really changed. I'll just pretend that I've never met the girl who was as gentle as water in my memory. I lowered my eyes and mourned for my pitiful past life for 3 seconds, then I turned around and left. There's no point in continuing to quarrel with them. Moreover, a person can't quarrel with 2 people at the same time. It will make you feel very wronged and cause mental exhaustion. My heart has long been devoted to my studies and can't accommodate rotten cabbages and little green teas. However, I'm in charge of my room. I closed the door, smashed Heidi's piano, and then cut up her dolls. From now on, if your things enter my room again, this will be the consequence, and the same goes for you. I threw the broken pieces out of the room. That night, I didn't go back to school. I stayed at home, not for anything else, but just to wait for my dear parents. At 6 o'clock, Mom and Dad came back, carrying a lot of things. It was obvious that they had been shopping. Heidi rushed out of the room and ran into Mom's arms, and by the way, took all the shopping bags. I was sitting at the dining table, looking at my somewhat embarrassed mom. I said, "What are you standing there for? Go and cook." Dad took a step back in fear. I nodded at him. "Don't just stand there either, cut me a plate of fruit. By the way, Heidi, I heard from your head teacher that you were at the bottom of the class in this monthly exam. What's going on? Have you gone stupid from being in a relationship?" Heidi stared at me with vicious eyes. But she didn't dare to move with the 2 slaps on her face. "Go and take the things that Mom and Dad bought for you to my room. I'll try them on for you." I continued to speak without any sense of shame. "Those were bought for me by Mom and Dad. What a naughty child you are. I'm older than you. Good things should be used by me first." Deputy Director James, "Is this how you educate your child?" Dad held back his anger. "Give the things to her. Dad will buy you new ones tomorrow. Get me a new set too and send it to my school." The next day, I rarely woke up naturally. When I woke up, I found that the house was already empty. Mom had gone to the company, and Dad had taken Heidi to school and then gone to his unit on the way. I opened the refrigerator, and there was nothing in it. "Forget it, I'm already used to it," I said to the mirror. When I opened the door, I suddenly saw a black car parked not far away. Harry stuck his head out of the car window. Desk mate, it's time to go to school. Maybe the sunlight was too dazzling, and I felt a stabbing pain in my eyes. Harry helped me carry the box of changeable clothes, pulled me into the car, and said excitedly, "Why didn't you come to the evening self-study yesterday? Oh, by the way, when I got up this morning, I found that the veins on my wrist were bulging." Desk mate, take a look. I turned my head and saw a strong arm with prominent blue-purple blood vessels. Desk mate, I have a hunch that I've evolved. Maybe I'm incredibly strong now. I didn't even use any strength when I carried the box just now. Silly, that's because there are clothes in the box, and it's very light. Desk mate, have you had breakfast? I shook my head. "Well, if you don't mind, do you want to eat this burrito?" He looked at me expectantly. I was really hungry, so I grabbed the burrito and took a bite. "Does a fairy also eat burritos?" "I put green onions in it." He looked at me in surprise. I gave him a blank look. "This burrito really smells good. It's warm." "Then does a fairy poop?" Harry really lives up to his name. Chi, strange in Chinese. The driver in the front seat coughed violently and said dryly, "Young master, if you can't chat, you can just stop chatting. The college entrance examination is approaching, and I won't go home on weekends anymore. I just keep struggling with the questions at school every day." Harry has also applied to live in the dormitory. And he finally has a bit of a study attitude. The atmosphere in the class is very tense, as the best class in the best school in the city, except for the reshuffle when we divided into liberal arts and science classes in the second year of high school. We've been together for 3 years. Everyone is trying their best to surpass others. It's one day before the college entrance examination countdown. I moved into a hotel. Harry was picked up by his family and went home, but in the afternoon, he brought his whole family and moved into the suite next to mine. When we met at dinner, he even said to me, "What a coincidence." On the first day of the college entrance examination, as soon as I walked out of the room, I saw Harry smiling at me. "Did you bring your admission ticket and ID card? Let's go." After the college entrance examination ended, I estimated that I did quite well in the exam. But soon I'll be turning 18, and my family has no obligation to support me anymore. I have to find a way to support myself. I plan to find a part-time job during the summer vacation and work as a tutor to save money. Coincidentally, a publishing house approached me and said they hoped I could sell them my notes from the 3 years of high school so that they could publish a set of teaching aids. It's a very substantial income, and if I'm frugal, it's even enough for me to finish my university studies. The editor said that they first approached Harry, the genius student in our class. Harry said he never took notes, and then he recommended me to the people from the publishing house. After the college entrance examination, I'm still staying at home, just eating and waiting to grow up. I'm waiting for my coming of age. In my past life, my coming of age ceremony was very unpleasant. Dad held a grand banquet for me and invited local celebrities and big shots from the political and business circles. He asked Mom to dress me up beautifully, like a commodity waiting to be sold at a good price, and in fact, as a commodity, I was indeed beautiful enough and eye-catching enough. During the banquet, Dad asked me to propose a toast. starting from the people with high status to those with low status, from the older ones to the younger ones. Many kind-hearted people advised Dad, "Don't let the girl drink so much alcohol." Dad smiled obsequiously. "What are you afraid of? She's an adult now, and she likes drinking." I felt a bit dizzy from drinking and subconsciously went to find Lee. He was surrounded by a group of young rich kids, and Heidi was standing by his side. The group of people were laughing. "Lee, describe your girlfriend in 3 words, a young man said with a playful smile. It seemed that Lee had lost a game of truth or dare. He waved his hand helplessly. "Dark, short, tough." There was a lewd laugh. "Which part is dark? Which part is short? In which aspect is she tough? Dark skin, short stature, and a strong personality." After the college entrance examination results were announced, I received a call from the top 1 school in the province. I ranked 9th in the whole province. The class group was already in an uproar. Needless to say, the top scorer in the exam was Harry, but as a dark horse that emerged this year, I got the 2nd place in the class and the 9th place in the province. The head teacher was spamming the group. "As long as you work hard, there will really be rewards." The head teacher also posted a long message in the group. I was a bit worried about Jenny's mental state in the end. She was like she was possessed. I didn't dare to persuade her. Fortunately, there's a happy ending. 2 students from our class are among the top 10 in the province. I'm going to go down in history. Will the school build a monument for me, and then make a statue? What pose should I strike? The head teacher asked in the group again. To be honest, the person whose mental state should be worried about is him. Harry seems to have subscribed to some membership or got a red diamond or blue diamond. Every time he speaks in the group, there are colorful special effects. "Let's congratulate Jenny. Let's congratulate Jenny." He single-handedly brought the focus of everyone's discussion back to me. I quickly messaged him privately. "Shut up, Harry. Harry, going out. What does he mean by going out?" Subconsciously, I looked downstairs at my house, and a black car was parked there. I rushed downstairs quickly, but was blocked by my parents. "Where are you going, baby?" "To the crematorium," I said casually. My parents' faces turned ugly. "What are you going to the crematorium for?" "To bury my lost youth." "It's too late. It's not safe to go there. You're a student of a top 1 university now." Dad rubbed his hands. "I'll drive you there." I opened my eyes wide and clapped my hands exaggeratedly. "My goodness, my dear Mother Mary, can I really take your noble car, Dad?" "No way. That's Heidi's exclusive seat. I'm afraid I'll get hemorrhoids if I sit in it. God, I'm so old, and I've never taken my biological father's car. So a daughter can take her father's car. Do other daughters also have such good luck as me?" Dad's face turned pale. I passed him and rushed downstairs. Harry was waiting for me downstairs. He asked me anxiously about the college application. I said I'd just go with the flow. I haven't decided what to study yet. At an age when I have nothing, it's really silly to make a hasty decision about the path of my whole life based on my exam scores. "What do you want to study?" I asked. "My family wants me to study finance." Harry smiled bitterly. "My hometown is in B City, and my family is in business. You know, for kids like us, we have to consider the family. You seem to have grown up suddenly." I touched his head and said with satisfaction, "Don't touch me randomly. A man's head can only be touched by his wife," he said seriously, and then rubbed his hair against my finger. I quickly withdrew my finger and tried to find something to say. "So what do you want to study?" Harry fell into deep thought. "I want to study medicine. I want to explore the wonders of the human body." "Great, I've decided, I'm going to study medicine too," I said. Harry panicked, and his ears turned red. You, what do you mean? You don't have to do this for me. I think I'm really suitable for studying medicine. My personality is suitable for it." I made a conclusion about myself. If I don't act crazy, I'm actually quite normal and suitable for studying medicine. My parents started to show concern for me. But I've already passed that stage. "Well, you'll be turning 18 tomorrow. Dad has been a bit sorry for you all these years. How about I hold a grand coming-of-age ceremony for you? Let's settle our father-daughter feud, shall we?" I said. "It's not a good idea." He didn't expect me to be so unyielding. "I'm doing this for your own good. Jenny, you don't think that just because you've been admitted to university, the road of your life will be smooth, do you?" Dad relaxed and sat on the sofa. Once, I also thought that going to university would allow me to change my destiny, but the college entrance examination is just a trivial starting point in life. They called me a phoenix man, a toad. I studied desperately, wanting to reach Rome, but I didn't expect that some people are born in Rome. Even if I reach Rome, I'll just be one of the lowest people there. Do you think you can have any dignity and respect without my help? His eyes were full of mockery. As if he had seen through the rules of the world. However, in my eyes, he's so childish that he's not even as good as Harry. I was extremely calm. You help me. What kind of help? Help me become one of the lowest people in Rome too, and then be at the mercy of others. James lit a cigarette. No, you can stand on my shoulders and see the world. After all, you're my only daughter. I was stunned. What did he mean? Heidi is my adopted daughter. Her father was my old colleague. Do you know how many benefits adopting her brought me? Everyone praised me as a person who values friendship and righteousness. My official career has been incredibly smooth. James took a puff of his cigarette. In the smoke, I couldn't even see his face clearly. You're ridiculous. I left him with these words. It's really ridiculous. I thought James was just partial to my sister, but he's even more despicable than I thought. They all say I'm crazy, but in fact, he's the crazy one, in my past life. He indulged Heidi without any bottom line and made her become so arrogant. After he knew that I was with Lee, Heidi forcefully inserted herself into our relationship, and Lee was such a person, to put it nicely, he showed pity for the weak, but in fact, he couldn't distinguish right from wrong. With just a few tears from Heidi, she managed to win him over, under the double blow of being betrayed by my sister and my boyfriend. I failed in the college entrance examination and went to an ordinary university. I told myself to stay away from them, far away, but Heidi would deliberately show off in front of me from time to time, an 18-year-old girl who has never been treated well. How can she know how to treat herself well? I suffered from depression, but I still didn't give up hope and actively cooperated with the treatment, until one day, Lee came to me with my medical records in his hands and his eyes red. He said, "I'm sorry, I didn't expect to hurt you so much. Look, he always shows pity for the weak, and his soft heart is really disgusting." Lee started to pursue me again, showing concern for me every day. Heidi went crazy and personally drove and ran me over. The last scene I saw before I was reborn was Heidi's crazy and malicious smile. The coming-of-age ceremony was held as scheduled. James thought I had compromised. He was certain that as his daughter, I should be the kind of person who would stop at nothing to climb up the social ladder, just like him. Unfortunately, I've never been that kind of person. Basically, all the local celebrities came. Harry's hometown is in B City, so his family was naturally not on the invitation list. However, as my friend, I still sent him an invitation letter. James values profits highly. He only allowed me to invite 2 people, and the remaining spots were all used by him to pave the way for himself. After some pleasantries, James walked onto the stage. "Welcome all colleagues to my daughter's coming-of-age ceremony. In fact, today is also her college entrance celebration." There was a burst of praise from below. Deputy Director James really knows how to raise children. She studies so well. James nodded at me, signaling me to go on stage and say something nice. I mouthed back at him, "Go to hell." He gritted his teeth. "I hope all of you enjoy the food and drinks. It's impossible for me to compromise. Jenny will never compromise in my life. I just pretended to be well-behaved and weak a few days ago to trick him into transferring my household registration to the school. Now that I've got what I want, James can no longer do anything to me." I picked some things to eat in the venue. When I turned around, I saw Harry standing in front of me, wearing a neat silver gray suit. He has broad shoulders and long legs. I silently gave him a thumbs up in my heart. You look really nice today." Harry pinched his clothes corner awkwardly. "Stop pinching, the suit will get wrinkled." I looked at him, and he looked back at me, in a trance. I remembered the first time we met, when he pretended to be arrogant and glanced at me, saying, "Only primary school students cover their books." His somewhat immature face coincided with the face he has today. Before we knew it, we've known each other for 3 years. At that time, he had a crew cut, and I had a ponytail. We were wrapped in our loose school uniforms. Now, his hairstyle is exquisite, and my makeup is appropriate, wrapped under the gorgeous, adult facade. We still look at each other with the innocent eyes we had in the beginning. Harry took a big gulp of wine. "Tomorrow, I'm leaving tomorrow, going back to B City. Will you come with me? Let's go and take a look at the school in advance or something," he asked in a low voice. "Sure, in the future, I'll make the whole world my home and go wherever I want." His eyes lit up immediately. "Then it's a deal. I'll come to pick you up tomorrow. From now on, I'll take care of you." "No, I can be your guardian from now on. He said it with great solemnity. I suddenly had a mischievous thought and leaned closer to him. How do you want to take care of me? Harry's body straightened up, under his close-fitting suit jacket, his muscles were faintly visible. I'll give you all my money, and you take care of me. Cut. I thought you were going to confess your love. I pretended to sigh in disappointment. Harry's face turned bright red, and he was very anxious. It is a confession. It's a confession. Will you accept it? Suddenly, he knelt down on one knee. Will you? Fortunately, we were in a corner, or it would have been so embarrassing. I pulled him up. I will. Some people are happy, while others are sad. Here, Harry's eyes when looking at me are full of affection. Over there, Heidi is crying and hugging Lee in the corridor outside the banquet hall. I really like you, Heidi hiccuped while crying. Sister Heidi, I see you as a sister. Lee raised his hands helplessly. After the banquet, I went home to pack my things, except for 2 sets of underwear. I didn't take anything. I will return everything I've eaten and used during these years in the James family. When I opened the door, by the faint moonlight, I saw Heidi sitting on the sofa trimming the branches of the flowers. A pot of azaleas was cut into pieces by her, trimming the flowers without turning on the light. You really have a way. You're very proud, aren't you? Heidi's ghostly voice came, scaring me. You should have known it for a long time, right? I'm not the biological child of our parents, so what? Jenny, I've enjoyed the love that should have been yours for so many years. Are you very jealous of me? Don't act crazy in front of me if you're sick, I warned her. Oh, right, Jenny, do you know what Brother Harry said about you? He said, he said you're dark, short, and tough. Heidi stood up. She has indeed developed well. Her skin is fair, and she is half a head taller than me. Everything you have will eventually be mine. Your biological parents don't want you. Let alone Brother Harry. She provoked me. Yeah, it's all yours. It's all yours. Take it all. I pulled my suitcase. Oh, didn't you want to put your dolls in my room? Go ahead, you can even put the piano in there. After saying that, I left without any hesitation. I don't want to stay in this home for a single second longer. Jenny, you'd better die outside forever and never come back, Heidi shouted. I turned around. Heidi, you're really pitiful. In response, Heidi threw a pair of scissors at me in a fit of rage. She probably didn't expect herself to throw it so accurately that it hit me right in the chest. I fell to the ground with a thud. When I opened my eyes again, I was in the hospital, and my mother was by my bedside. I quickly touched my chest. Why is there no wound? I remembered that I had put my vocabulary book in the pocket of my chest. After studying for so many years, I've gotten used to putting a vocabulary book in my chest pocket. I even planned to continue competing with others in English after going to university. See, I told you to be nice to books. At critical moments, they will protect you. Jenny, you're awake. My mother rushed over anxiously. Quick, Mom will get you a pen and paper. Write a letter of understanding for Heidi. Your dad has sent Heidi to the police station. Look, this is my mother. Sure, I'll write the letter of understanding. And you write a certificate of severance of the relationship. I said expressionlessly, how can you be so selfish? You're not even injured, right? She's your sister, my mother shouted. I didn't respond to her. I just lay down directly. She tugged at my quilt, trying to make me sit up, although it's a bit embarrassing. I guess I fainted from being scared. Who wouldn't be afraid when they see a pair of scissors stuck in their chest? Jenny, I've raised you for 8 years. Is this how you repay me? You ungrateful wretch, bitch. I sat up in a hurry, shaking my head frantically and shouting, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You're not my mother at all. How could a mother do such a thing when her daughter was almost killed? You're Heidi's mother. Dad said Heidi is adopted. In fact, I'm the adopted one, right? I started to go crazy. You're talking nonsense. You're talking nonsense. Heidi is not adopted. She isn't. She's my biological daughter. I left her in the countryside when she was a baby. And I brought her back when she was 3. We've never been separated since then. She's my only daughter. She went crazy. What kind of evil deeds have been done? The next day, I was discharged from the hospital, and Heidi was also released and came back. She became taciturn, and so did I. At such a young and beautiful age, we are gradually withering. James went to work, and there were only the mother and daughter at home. I picked up my suitcase and waved at them, goodbye. I didn't say, see you again, because I never want to see them again. I walked out of the house. The sun was shining brightly, Harry was leaning against the car door, striking a dashing pose, and waiting for me. My future is still ahead of me. Side story 1, from Heidi's perspective. When did I know the truth? When I was 6 years old, I realized that I didn't look like my parents. Some people said I wasn't their biological child. They looked at me with pity and said that my father was Dad's subordinate and that I was adopted. Dad always looked at me with a superior and pitying gaze, while Mom gave all her love to me, but she was looking at someone else through me. When she looked at me, she would always be lost in thought and call me Jenny. Later, she rarely mentioned Jenny. The gaze she gave me was full of love. When I was 8 years old, the real Jenny came back. She was dark, thin, and small, with chapped lips and rough hands. I was prettier than her. Mom and Dad must love me more. Yes, all the delicious food and fun things were mine. As long as I wanted something, I would see Jenny reluctantly give it to me. Jenny was redundant. She wasn't welcome in our family. I don't know when this idea took root deeply. Mom spent more and more time looking at her, and Dad's eyes when looking at her were also full of complex emotions. Jenny's personality was very similar to Mom's. She was gentle and easy to bully. When I was 12 years old, Jenny suddenly changed and became like a crazy person. I gloated as I watched her being beaten, covered in scars. I thought to myself, hit her harder, beat her to death. I don't want this sister. But Dad didn't do that. When I was 15 years old, Jenny was admitted to a top 1 university. She was finally going to leave. But why did she have to be in the same school as the male god I've liked since I was a child? Lee is the only person who has ever looked at me seriously since I was a child. At Jenny's coming-of-age ceremony, I confessed my love to brother Harry. He said, "Sister Heidi, you're still young. Study hard." I said, "I will study hard." "Will you be my boyfriend?" "I'll study even harder." He patted my shoulder. "I see you as a sister." I asked him if he liked Jenny, and he said he did. He said he liked Jenny's hard work, earnestness, and courage to express herself. I cried and hugged him. I knew that Lee could never refuse the weak. As long as I pretended to be wronged, he wouldn't push me away. But he did push me away, he said. At first, I thought Jenny and I were the same kind of people. We were gentle in character, not good at arguing, so we always suffered losses and were bullied. But later, she showed me a brilliant side, and I also want to be like her. When I got home, I lost control and threw things at Jenny. I forgot that I was holding a pair of scissors in my hand. Thankfully, Jenny was okay. I hate her, but I don't want her to die either, as long as she doesn't steal my things. The next day, Jenny left with her suitcase. Dad said to me, "Leave when you come of age." The way he looked at me was like looking at something dirty. Overnight, I lost everything, for the rest of my life. I never saw Jenny again. When I was 18 years old, I didn't get admitted to university and was kicked out of the house. Only then did I know the hardships of life. Many years later, I realized that it seemed that I had been stealing Jenny's things. Those things originally belonged to Jenny, and I was the thief. Side story 2, from Heidi's mother's perspective. My name is Penny, a girl who worked hard to get into university and became a teacher to change my destiny. When I was 23 years old, I met James, who also managed to get out of the countryside through studying like me. We got together and had a lovely daughter. James asked me to resign, but I refused. I knew too well that my job was obtained through hard work. I could even give up my life, but I couldn't give up my job. I wanted to hire a monthly nurse, but James refused me. He said he was just a staff member, and with so many people watching him, it was impossible to hire a monthly nurse. So we sent our little daughter to the countryside. On the day we left, our daughter cried her heart out, but I didn't look back. When she grew up, she would know how many conveniences a successful career mother could bring her. But I didn't expect that James brought back a baby and said it was his colleague's child. His colleague and his wife died in a car accident, leaving only a baby, and he decided to adopt the baby. I didn't agree. I hadn't even raised my own daughter. Why should I raise someone else's daughter? But this time, James gave me a satisfactory condition. He said he wanted to start a company, but because of his special identity, he asked me to resign and put my name on the company. I didn't understand all these twists and turns, but I knew that he wouldn't harm me, and he didn't dare to harm me either. I agreed, but I asked to bring back the daughter in the countryside. He refused me again, saying that since he had just adopted the child, the outside world was watching him closely, and there couldn't be the slightest mistake. Just bear with it a little longer. I'm about to be promoted to section chief. He hugged me. I looked at the little baby, but in my heart, there was only longing and guilt for my daughter. Finally, this guilt overwhelmed me. I brainwashed myself into thinking that this was my daughter, my only daughter. When my real daughter came back, I regarded her as an invading outsider. Finally, I drove my biological daughter away. She picked up her suitcase and said goodbye to me. Somehow, I knew that the most precious treasure in my life was about to disappear. I wanted to hold on to her, but I found that I didn't even have a reason. People often say that those involved are blind, while onlookers see clearly, but those in the situation can never see clearly what they really want. I've always been stubborn, like someone who doesn't care anymore and can't think clearly. I'm old now. Jenny sends me alimony every year, but she has never come back. James and I searched all over B City but couldn't find her. James and I calculated our property. We only kept what we needed for daily life and sent the rest of the money to Jenny, hoping that she would see us. But she didn't take the money, nor did she want us. James said that his life was like a joke. He just wanted to climb up the social ladder by any means and let his children suffer less by stepping on his shoulders. But in the end, he lost his children. If he could do it all over again, he would never have adopted Heidi. If I could do it all over again, I would definitely treat my Jenny well. I had so many chances to be good to her, but I didn't seize any of them. My Jenny, for the rest of my life. I never saw my Jenny again. Side story 3. From Harry's perspective, my family lives in B City. My parents are busy with their business and have no time to take care of me. So, since I was a child, I watched anime and read novels, and successfully grew up to be someone with the power of the Demon Lord, a person with a complex. My parents thought I was too embarrassing, so they sent me to study in high school in a province, which has a very high teaching level. Here, I met the love of my life. On the first day of school, I met a girl. She was really cute, from the tip of her hair to her toes. She fit my aesthetic taste. However, it's not that easy to win the heart of young Master He. I turned my head and didn't look at her. Then she started wrapping the book cover on her own. Only primary school students cover their books. My mouth spoke faster than my brain, and I blurted out those words. Then I regretted it so much that I wanted to strangle myself. She gave me a blank look. Under my strong request, she was my desk mate for 3 years. Before that, when we changed seats, a boy briefly sat next to me. Under my enthusiastic harassment, the boy couldn't stand it anymore and begged the teacher to change his seat. Just a little trick. Just a little trick. She didn't dislike my sick behavior, nor did she dislike it when my long arms always crossed the line on the desk. She also didn't mind that I smelled of sweat after playing basketball. She's so nice, but such a nice. Jenny had a tough life. I knew that no one had ever attended her parents' meeting at school. My parents flew all the way from B City to attend my parents' meeting, but she didn't have anyone to attend hers. I directly made my mom act as her mom. My mom winked at me and then said to Jenny, "Little girl, how about Auntie attend your parents' meeting for you? Let's do a rehearsal in advance. You can call me Mom." Jenny was stunned for a moment and called out, "Mom." I wanted to jump out of the window, roll on the ground, climb up a tree, and roar like Tarzan. After graduating from high school, I managed to bring Jenny back to B City as I wished. My dream for many years had finally come true, and I felt like I was floating in the air. The only thing that made me unhappy was that Jenny was studying in a medical school and was really busy. I often couldn't see her, and it made me feel bad. There's one more thing. That guy named Lee, who was my classmate, looked like he deserved a beating. He went to the medical school every day. I don't know what he was thinking. That's my wife. Doesn't he have his own wife? Oh right, he really doesn't. That dog Lee is really a jerk. Jenny and I got married right after we graduated from undergraduate school. On our wedding day, Lee specifically took some ugly photos of me. He even sent them to me and said that I smiled like a stupid dog. After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.